What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast. I am your host, as always, Tony Mango, and joining me, as always, are Robert DeFelice.
Hey.
And Callum Wiggins.
Ugh,
I agree. For so many different things. My stuffy-ass nose. The fact that, some of the things we can't really talk about yet. Plenty of other things. If you have something to, about, drop a comment below. Tell us your thoughts on anything related or pay-per-view related or anything else that you want to chime in about. Maybe you got a really good grilled cheese recipe or something. I don't know. But
that's
if you were,
specific.
I don't know, it's popped in my mind. Maybe I really want a grilled cheese in my subconscious or something. But if you're on the audio-only platforms, you're on the iTunes feed or Stitcher or Google Play or Spotify or Anchor or Podbean or anything else like that, then leave a rating over there, hop on over to the YouTube channel, and do the usual stuff that you should be doing over there, which includes subscribing to the YouTube channel if you haven't done that already, ringing that little bell for the notifications, and as I said, dropping a comment below. Also, liking the video, too. That helps out quite a bit. So, let's get that out of the way, and let's address the elephant in the room. What's up, Barry? Stupid ass joke. No, the elephant in the room is the fact that yesterday we were talking about the idea that we didn't know the final participant of Team Ciampa, and we didn't know anybody for Team NXT, for the men and the women. But hey, they'll probably announce it on NXT. And they didn't. So we are currently, it is a little bit after 3 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, and we still do not know a single person for the men's or the women's elimination matches for NXT. It also means that we don't know who is going to face Adam Cole for the NXT Championship, because we're not going to know that until TakeOver happens.
Right.
But what are you guys thinking here? Is this we talked about this before, so we're going to hit the same kind of marks, but is it laziness? Is it a misguided attempt to be like, ooh, if we give a mysterious angle, then people will want to tune in because who knows who's going to be in this match? Is it a matter of them not knowing who's going to get injured in War Games to be able to replace the people? Or did they seriously just not sit down and figure it out? It's one of the four.
I think it's half they just want a surprise, and it's half, listen, we're giving them a good product for only $10 a month. I think the amount of money that people pay for their network is causing them to justify their laziness.
I just don't think they really care. They've just got a lot of platforms they can announce this thing on at any point in time they choose, and realistically, at least a good solid, 1 million to 2 million people will always tune in to watch their stuff, no matter what they do anyway. So who cares?
Oh, is that going to be the tone of Callum in this podcast?
Well, I need to just go with the overarching thing of going into this Survivor Series is that nothing on this card. Well, actually, 3 matches on this card matter. The 3 championship matches. The rest of it doesn't matter at all. It's not going to matter. It's going to matter on this show, and it's not going to matter a day after it. It's like Team Raw versus Team. First of all, why are they feuding with each other? Most of these people joined the brand that they're on a month ago. And yet they've somehow developed some sort of weird fixation of, oh, I'm super Raw guy and I must be defending against SmackDown, even though, I don't know, I might have been on the same show as you just a couple of months ago. Like Charlotte Flair's leading Team Raw. She was on SmackDown for the last year and a half. And yet she's so adamant that she has to beat SmackDown and NXT. It's just so... it's even worse this year. This year, they haven't even tried to put any sort of animosity between them or have general managers that are desperate to get one over on the other side of things. It's just, this is the time of year that we put all the brands against each other, just like October is the same time of year that we put people inside Hell in a Cell. Next month is the time we all put them in ladder matches or table matches or chairs matches. It's all so artificial. Nothing is organic. Nothing is put together with any real thought or care. It's just, it's this spot on the calendar, so I guess we better do that this time. It's becoming very, very, especially with AEW trying to do something a little bit different and so many other options available. It just really highlights how disgustingly horrible WWE has become.
And I will say this whole month, with Triple H being the leader of NXT really made me miss. Like, all right, I don't want greedy general managers that are going to steal half the show all year long, but Survivor Series in this case needed those GMs to like lead the brands, because the NXT came across so much better than either brand because they had a leader and he was kind of calling the shots.
Well, it needs incentives. NXT's incentive, at least, is pretty straightforward in the fact that they're kind of like they've just started as a new brand on TV, and they want to show that they're on the same level as Raw and SmackDown. That story kind of just tells itself. But why are Raw and SmackDown feuding with each other?
Do you think that this was planned before the draft and it was going to be NXT versus WWE? But since they did the brand split, they're just like, all right, fuck, I guess we got to do Raw and SmackDown NXT.
I think they didn't have a plan, or if they did, it didn't really stick anyway.
It's like they care about a plan. Like you were saying earlier, like they're just kind of like Raw versus NXT versus SmackDown. That'll be neat.
I mean, we didn't even know until, like, I was quite set on the fact that I thought that it wasn't going to be the brand supremacy thing, because why would they put a draft a month before they're going to do some sort of brand warfare show? Maybe I was giving them too much credit, because they clearly don't care or think about this sort of stuff. Because they're so... I think it's partly with, like, the $10 a month, like Rob was saying, but it's also just part of that they have an audience, a very hardcore audience that will tune in to watch them whatever that they do. Yeah. And they can rest on that laurel for a lot. And that audience is it's very gradually wearing away. I mean, Raw just barely scraped over 2 million viewers this week. So it is going away, but it's still going to be there. And for a lot of people, they're going to be watching this until, I mean, it will never close its doors, but they would keep watching it until it closed its doors if that was ever an option.
See, what's bothersome about some of this stuff, and I've used this phrase a lot over the past couple of years, but it's not that hard. For instance, if they do know who is going to be a part of Team NXT for both of these things, they do have tons of platforms that they can announce that. They could have had Kathy Kelly, for instance, on last night's NXT. She took a couple seconds out of the show to reiterate a previous vignette that had said Pete Dunne versus Killian Dain versus Damian Priest is going to be for a number one contenders thing at TakeOver. So they showed you that. They had announced it ahead of time. And then they had her say, by the way, that's that thing that I said earlier. Here you go. I'm saying it again. That easily could have just been her saying, we're going to take a look real quick at the teams for Team NXT. And it takes the same amount of time. It's 2 graphics that you make up. And the graphics aren't hard to do either. That's the thing. The graphics on the website, they just fixed a couple of them today. And it's like, Thursday shouldn't be when you have graphics up. They shouldn't have that generic gray background and not know what the background is. It's a yellow, a blue, and a red stripe. It's not like it's the most difficult thing in the world to create. It could have done that in Photoshop in 30 seconds. So you got a whole team full of people working on this stuff. You've got, the corporation has many different avenues for lots of different things. And you'd slap a graphic together. Or, shit, if you really want to be lazy, you don't even have to do that. You could just have Kathy Kelly say, and the 5 people that are on Team NXT for the men are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The 5 people for the women are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there you go. And that solves a lot of the issues. And then people like myself will go on our own websites and we'll add that information for people that want to know. And then we're doing the fucking work for you. You know what I mean? But it's also not that hard to do something that reiterates why this exists to begin with a 2-second promo. All you have to do is say, you could have the commentary team say it. Anybody on any commentary team on any of those 3 episodes, on any of the weeks leading up to this, or any Twitter post for any account that can be reiterated at another time, or any YouTube video, all they have to do is say, the winning brand gets pay raises. That's it.
Yeah, it had to have some kind of incentive other than this bizarre brand supremacy tagline that they keep putting on everything. Like, it's either they all get pay raises, they all get bonuses at the end of the year. The winning brand gets the number 30 spot in the in both Royal Rumbles.
Right.
That sort of just something to give the people that survive on Team Raw, Team SmackDown, or NXT get title shots of their choosing. Anything that can add some sort of, when it's champion versus champion, at least there's some sort of like inbuilt incentive to win, to try and prove that you're the best champion on the brand. In terms of the actual teams, that could be like an incentive to get a title shot on their own brand, and also could lead to a reason why a bunch of heels and baby faces are teaming with each other. Because that's another thing that's obnoxious about this entire show, is the fact that it's diluted the impact of war games. Because these two teams will be fighting each other, supposedly going to war with each other, and then will be teaming up the very next night.
Now, the only way to get around that, which is annoying as hell, is if the elimination matches on this card are booked insanely, where it's like, for instance, if Matt Riddle and Finn Balor are both on Team NXT, if they just can't get along and they fight, and the two of them lead to like they're brawling on the outside and they both get counted out, and then that just takes two more names out. Because we do have now like 15 different people that are going to have to be like eliminated at different points. So that already rules out the idea. I don't think we're getting a single sole survivor on this card. If it is, we're going to get like Sarah Logan runs into the ring and gets a quick roll up and she's eliminated, and somebody else comes over and it's a back body drop, and then that leads to a pin, and that, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to do that kind of crap, which makes me, on paper, this looks amazing, because it's like, wow, all these great people, but you know the execution of it is going to be like, all right, well, this guy we got to get out real fast, this guy we got to get out real fast, this girl's got to go out, this girl's got to go out, this girl's got to go out, and it's basically going to be, what are the 5 people that they really care about out of the 15 people in each match? Then they'll wrestle. So it's like, all right, for Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, maybe, Charlotte.
Ali and Shorty G, unfortunately, I think are going to be real disposable people. Sarah Logan, this is one of those sad instances where it's going to expose how little they think of her when they get her out in 5 seconds.
Dana Brooke is another one. But I don't think that that's just for those people either. I mean, look at past Survivor Series things. We've had people like Ryback who were big at the time, like popular and legitimate. And they'll have them like get jobbed out in 30 seconds just because they need to push them out of the way. We could see people like Carmella and we could see Braun Strowman get some kind of a quick pin for some stupid reason, you know?
It's one of those unfortunate things where the way they lay this out, it's going to just make, like you said, except for maybe 5 people in each match, look completely stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, they already have trouble enough doing it when it's just 5-on-5. I mean, it wasn't last year, but the year before that with the it seemed like that dream 5-on-5 scenario where you had like people like Triple H on one side and John Cena on the other, and none of those guys really felt like coming out of it felt super special.
Didn't Cena get eliminated real quick?
Yeah, they were just kind of. I think he didn't go out quickly, but when he got into the ring, he did his stuff for about 3 minutes and then got eliminated. It's like, and they have like Shane McMahon finishing off the match for like one side of his team. So
and then they didn't even pay anything off of that. Yeah, lately, now that we're going through this, the Survivor Series recently haven't been special. And in fact, they've been very rushed and quite sad.
Survivor Series used to be good because they didn't have as much that they needed to do. Like, the oversaturation of WWE is a real problem that they're not taking into account. And when you used to have WWE superstars and Monday Night Raw and that was it, or whatever, then you didn't get to see as many matches. So there weren't as many 3-on-3 and 5-on-5 type things and stuff. So when you would have 4-on-4, and it was like the 4x4s against whatever, it was special because they didn't do it 3 times per episode, 6 times per week.
Yeah.
Now it's just a matter of who are the people that we care about that we can put on here. So it's almost actually, Survivor Series is more of an idea of people like me who keep track of like the hierarchy, like the depth chart, to just go, okay, so that person they care about, and that person they definitely don't.
I mean, they had Dolph Ziggler win one year, and they didn't care about him, so
they've done that with him a couple of years.
Yeah, it's not always accurate.
Not always, but it's a good indication of something like the fact that Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville aren't on Team SmackDown means that they don't really care about pushing them right now.
But I mean, another odd thing about this card in general, which is it's obviously we talk about the fact that it doesn't really have any stakes or care or real consequence attached to it, and yet when you just look at the matches on paper, this could be a completely awesome show from top to bottom. And that's the weird thing about it, is that going in, it's hard to care about it because they haven't done a good job building it going in, and we know there's pretty much going to be no consequence coming out of it. And yet for the actual time that we'll probably be sitting down watching it, if the matches go as well as they could go, this could be the best show of the year for WWE.
Yeah, the potential is absolutely absurd. This could be amazing. It's not going to be.
Well, you don't even know, because if you just take the triple threat matches alone, you could have some really fun matches there, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I really enjoyed Survivor Series.
Yeah, and then you go back to figure, but what did it actually do? And just
and that's where you get upset.
Yeah. So as long as you don't think about the storylines, which is obviously something that maybe you have to do to enjoy a lot of WWE nowadays. But if you just switch that off and you would just want to watch a good wrestling show, then on paper, at the very least, this is the show for you.
I would argue that WWE is very loaded on that end, where if you watch almost any pay-per-view and just shut your brain off in terms of, but is this logical? The match quality will make you go, yeah, but I had fun.
That shouldn't be the case, though.
It shouldn't be, but it is.
You shouldn't have to be stupid to enjoy something. Because
I love that phrase. You should. That's WWE's new slogan. You don't have to be stupid, but it helps.
It's like ignorance is bliss. It's the type of thing where, like, I fucking hate so incredibly much how often. It doesn't matter if it's WWE or if it's pro wrestling in general, or if it could be anything. It could be fucking flavors of ice cream for all you care. So many people have this idea where they say, well, if you don't like it, just fucking deal with it. Or they'll say, well, just enjoy it. Just sit back and enjoy it and stop criticizing it. That makes literally no sense. I read a thing earlier about Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. And I think it was J.J. Abrams had said, like, well, fans, if they don't like it, they should just try to enjoy it for what it is. What the fuck does that mean? The whole point of not enjoying something is you don't like it. You know? It's not like, all right, you don't want me to punch you in the face? Well, just be okay with me punching you in the face. And that sort of mentality, sometimes it's like somebody like Triple H will do it. Sometimes it's people like the wrestlers themselves, like Seth Rollins will be complaining about people complaining, and they'll be like, they should just enjoy the show. How do you enjoy a show that you do not enjoy? What you do like, it's perfectly fine to talk about all the things you do like about it. But if you don't like it, then you should shut up and you shouldn't criticize it. Why? If you go to a restaurant and they cook your meal wrong, you're going to point out what they cooked wrong. You're not going to just be like, they burn it, but it's just as good as if they didn't. That ignorance is bliss type of mentality is absolutely absurd. So, on paper, this looks amazing. And I hope that they actually use this and capitalize on the momentum and the potential. But not the momentum, because the momentum is basically, how many times can we do the whole, like, interrupt a match and do a big brawl? 14 times a fucking episode. But even on paper, if you told me, and you're not somebody who follows wrestling and, you know, all that other kind of stuff that goes along with that, if you say to me, yeah, you don't want to watch this event? We don't know who's wrestling on 3 of the matches. I'd be like, what? You know? Is that the gimmick? No, the gimmick is, we should know this by now. They just haven't said it. Okay. I'm telling you, it's going to be great. We've got TBD.
I think what ended up happening was, because on camera, Sean and Hunter kind of alluded to this, where the first SmackDown where they were on it, they go, we were just sitting at home, and then all of a sudden this commercial comes on, and it's like, oh, Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. Oh, I didn't know we were doing that. Okay, well, since you called us out, here we are. I think it's just a matter of they were going to do War Games, and then NXT got moved to USA, so they're like, you know what? Let's include NXT in this, and then it'll feel like it's special, and the main roster can get that NXT rub instead of having to compete with the takeover. They were trying to accomplish many things, and I think they just ruined a lot of them.
It's so weird to me, though, how they act like it's too hard to do all this stuff at the same time. Where, like, you've got Vince, you've got Stephanie, you've got Triple H, you got Bruce Pritchard, you got Paul Heyman. You've got the writing team on each of those shows. You mean to tell me not a single one of those fuckers could, the next time they're taking a shit, go on their phone, look on the roster page on Wikipedia, and just go, all right, well, thinking probably Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, like, you know, and then just text everybody in a group chat and go, hey, how about these 5? And then everybody goes, thumbs up emoji. And then that's the end of it. It's a 2-second thing. Like, it'll take me longer to list the names that are potentials for the women's NXT group than it will be for them to have done that. Listen to this. This is how fast it is. Aaliyah, Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Deonna Purrazzo, Io Shirai, Isla Dawn, Jazzy Gabbert, Jessamine Duke, Ginny, Kaylee Ray, Killer Kelly, Marina Shafir, Mia Yim, Nina Samuels, Piper Niven, Rhea Ripley, Tainara, Tegan Knox, Toni Storm, Vanessa Bourne, Xia Brookside, Xia Li. In that time frame, I'm pretty sure anybody could have gone, yeah, probably not Ginny, probably not Vanessa Bourne, probably not Killer Kelly, whatever like that. And then they narrow it down to a list of 8, and then you go, out of the 8, probably these 5. The end of it. It's not hard. And if you run into an issue where the issue is like, well, we don't know who's going to get injured at War Games, if somebody gets injured at War Games, then you replace them on the show. Very simple. And you just announce it. You just say, this person's not been cleared to compete, and replacing them as part of Team NXT is so-and-so. You fly out a couple extra names. Everybody's in town anyway. They should be in town for TakeOver and Survivor Series. And then you just say, like, all right, well, fuck. Io Shirai got injured. So, hey, Piper Niven, step up. She goes, all right. Not that difficult.
Do you think the idea is to shoot a massive angle at Survivor Series?
No.
I mean, not at Survivor Series, at a TakeOver where, oh, you invaded our TakeOver show? Well, now these 4 in Triple H are going to kick your fucking ass at Survivor Series.
No, I either think that what they're going to do, it's threefold. It's actually, there's 4 possible options. Number 1, they just, out of nowhere, one of you guys sends me a text, or I send you a text, and it's like, oh, by the way, they put it up on the Twitter page, and it just is a graphic, and it just says, like, these are the 5 people. Number 2, they wait until SmackDown airs tomorrow night, and a graphic just pops up on the screen, and that's it. Number 3, they wait until TakeOver, and they say, these are the 5 people that are going to be representing Team NXT tomorrow. Make sure you tune in to Survivor Series. Or we don't know until they just come out. I don't know which one of the 5 is more likely. Kind of leaning more towards just the random Twitter announcement. And then number 2, I'd probably say just Survivor Series. But what do you guys think is the more likely option out of those 4?
Random Twitter announcement.
Yeah, they'll announce it the day after War Games.
Yeah, it's just bothersome. But if you want to know who is participating in the match, listen to how long of a title this is. The women's 5-on-5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series elimination triple threat match. Team Raw, including team captain Charlotte Flair, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Natalya, and Sarah Logan versus Team NXT, which consists of to be announced, to be announced, to be announced, to be announced, and to be announced, versus Team SmackDown, including team captain Sasha Banks, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Nikki Cross, and Lacey Evans.
Jesus.
That's how long this fucking title is for each of these matches. And the men's one's longer. It's a fucking coin flip. There's no way of really telling who can win any of these matches, right? Like for the women's one, let's stick on that one. You got to know that Sarah Logan's not going to go anywhere. They're probably not going to give the win to Natalya. I don't think that the Kabuki Warriors are going to be featured here. So it's like Charlotte is on Team Raw. Team NXT, who the fuck knows? I'm still sticking with my guesses from yesterday of Team NXT being Belair, Shirai, LeRae, Yim, and Ripley.
I'm a little more convinced that Shirai will be on the team since she had that stare down with Kairi last night.
And they've been featuring Ripley a lot. She did the whole thing with Becky Lynch. I don't think that they're going to just replace one of those spots with, like, Zy Brookside or something like that.
You never know. Kaylee Ray could get a spot.
Maybe. And then on Team SmackDown, Dana Brooke's not going to go anywhere with it. I don't think that they're going to really feature Nikki Cross. I kind of feel like Carmella is going to just sort of be there and not really do anything too crazy. I could see them doing something with Lacey Evans. And of course, Sasha Banks is team captain, so she'll only be jobbed out if they want to make a statement out of that. Oh my God, Sasha Banks got eliminated so quick. You didn't see that coming. That kind of thing.
If they do, this is another thing. It's the first time they're doing triple threat tag team elimination matches. So if they do it where there's one representative of each team in the ring at a time, then I think the final three in the ring are Ripley, Banks, and Flair wins it for Raw.
I'm assuming it's 2 in the ring, and you just can tag anybody.
Yeah, it's already too chaotic. They wouldn't be putting 3 in the ring at a time, I don't imagine.
I'm going with 3 in the ring just because I did.
Because
once it gets down to the final 3, how are you going to do it?
I don't think it needs to come down to a final 3. I could see, like, just for instance, like Team SmackDown, I could see Sasha being the only one left on her team, and Team Raw having, like, Flair and Natalya, and NXT having, like, 2 people left, and then they just knock out Sasha or something like that, and then it's just, you know.
And then Charlotte wins because Charlotte wins.
Well, I'm going to kind of lay my cards on the table here pretty much for the entirety of the show. I don't think NXT's winning a single of one of these matches.
Wow, really?
Yep. If they do, it'll be 1 at most.
Well, there is 5 things, so they kind of can't do a tie unless they make one of these like a no contest. And they could technically do that. They could have like one of the champion matches be a no contest, but I would assume they would want to give a win to each one for the champions. And then the other 2 elimination matches, it's like, all right, which brand do you give 1 extra point to, and which brand do you give another extra point to, where it'll be 2 and 2 and 1.
But Tony, Vince McMahon is running this show.
We are talking about a show that, yeah, I mean, last year, Survivor Series, SmackDown was supposed to be something that was like, well, we're going to go to Fox next year. Let's bury the fuck out of them and have them lose every single match except for the one match that they won that we have on the kickoff and says that it doesn't count. So we are talking about that company.
I mean, yeah, is he realistically going to say, oh, these NXT indie geeks are going to win a match over my superstars? This is, I mean, me and Rob are watching like 2001. This is WCW and ECW all over again. NXT is, in this guise, is the alliance. And as such, they will be buried on this show.
Well, I'll lay my cards out on the table. I think that Shayna Baszler has a good chance of winning. And I think if enough people got into Vince McMahon's ear, then Roderick Strong could win. But I don't think I don't think that NXT is winning either of the elimination matches.
I honestly think NXT has a good shot at winning the men's match, and that's it.
I would say if I was to go for some sort of risky bet into this area, then I would say that the match I would most likely have NXT winning is the men's elimination match, but that's for a very like emphatic storyline reason, as opposed to and if it was just like based on all of these people, if the matches just go without any real detours in terms of storyline, then it's likely the women's title match would be the most likely, because they could build Shayna Baszler against one of those two down the road when she gets promoted.
In particular, I don't think that Team NXT for the women has almost any chance of winning that match.
No, which is odd, because if you probably asked anybody that watches all of these products, the NXT women's roster is the strongest out of all of them.
Yeah, depending on who they pick for Team NXT, if they go with the 5 that I think that they are, Belair, LeRae, Shirai, Yim, and Ripley, that is the strongest team, because they don't have a Dana Brooke on there. They don't have a Sarah Logan on there. I'll argue that, like, Lacey Evans is, she's got some upside to her, but you put her against, like, Mia Yim on their status on the actual rosters that they're on, Mia Yim is kind of more impressive, and even though Carmella is a former champion and a former Money in the Bank winner, she's really kind of a comedic person, and you put her against Bianca Belair, Belair should whip the shit out of her, so they should theoretically have the strongest chances, other than maybe Team Raw, because they do have Kabuki Warriors and Italian Flair. But I do think this basically, to use my phrase, boils down to, do they want to give the win to Flair? Do they want to give the win to Sasha? Or do they want to give the win to either of them and somebody else on the team? Like, is it going to be Flair and Natalya that wins?
I think the safest bet, based on what we kind of know about TLC, I try not to go too far ahead with my projections, but they've at least advertised for that show that there's going to be a tag team match between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch against the Kabuki Warriors for the tag team titles. So I think that the smartest option would be, if that's the direction they're going to go down, is to have Charlotte win, unless they wanted to go even more absurd with it and have some sort of disagreement between Charlotte Flair and the Kabuki Warriors, get all 3 of them eliminated, in which case Team SmackDown wins.
Yep.
I
basically
don't...
the same exact kind of thoughts that I had.
It's hard, because I could just say, like, just guess one of them, but it would just literally be a guess, because there's no real logic beyond that. Of just
Yeah, this is the type of thing that you almost have to work backwards for. And you have to see, like, when they start announcing what they're doing for TLC. Actually, you probably have to even go back further than that. You'll probably have to go back after Royal Rumble and be like, that's why they did this thing at, whatever. Like, the whole stupid, why did SmackDown lose so much last year? Well, according to them, the game plan was supposed to be where we're going to do some kind of payoff, and it's going to be about Shane McMahon being a bad leader and all that. They didn't end up doing it. Just the same as the whole Rock and Triple H and Sting thing. It was like, well, we thought we were going to go in this direction, so we did this weird idea, and then we didn't do the other thing, so the other thing didn't make any sense. So we could get something totally random. Like, I mean, I'll put this out there, too. There is a chance that Carmella wins for Team SmackDown. And that ends up being her justification to challenge Bayley at TLC.
Yeah.
They could do that, but that's logical.
They could have Dana Brooke win.
I mean, they could do a lot
realistically. They could realistically have Dana Brooke win and have that as, like, her big redemption story.
Yeah, and they could just forget about it the next night. Like,
well, yeah, she gets a title. She gets a title shot against Bayley at the next pay-per-view. She loses and then goes back to the well, she can't even be on main event anymore because she's on SmackDown. But it's like,
I'm really glad that we're getting to see the Sarah Logan Dana Brooke match on pay-per-view after the.
What if they do pair them up? Like, if they start the match and then
if they're the final two, yeah, if they're the final two, the greatest main event match in history. But yeah, it would just be a coin flip, really. I would just go with Team Raw just because it has Charlotte on it, and that's usually the smart bet.
Charlotte needs to win something. I learned a long time ago, you don't bet against Charlotte. So Charlotte and the Kabukis get the win, or the Kabukis walk out on Charlotte, missed in the eyes. Somebody from NXT picks up the win. That's the only way NXT wins this match.
I feel like if, to spoil my thing for the men's, Raw and SmackDown are winning the 2 elimination matches. And it's basically just whichever one wins the women's match, the opposite wins the men's. So whichever one comes first, if like Team Raw wins for the women, then SmackDown wins for the men. I'm slightly leaning towards Team SmackDown for the women. And I don't really know why, but that Carmella thing is kind of sticking out to me a little bit. So I'll, for the hell of it, I'll just say that, but it's a fucking coin flip. Now for the men, take another deep breath. The men's 5-1-5 traditional Survivor Series elimination triple threat match. Team Raw, including team captain Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Ricochet versus Team NXT, including team captain to be announced, and to be announced, and to be announced, and to be announced, and to be announced, versus Team SmackDown, team captain Roman Reigns, Ali, no, he's Mustafa Ali now, Braun Strowman, King Corbin, and Shorty G.
So we all feel very confident that to be announced can win this match, right?
Vacant has a good shot, though.
He's got a great shot this weekend.
A hell of a tag team title reign, and many other titles as well. You know, we said this a million times, but let's just reiterate the point again. Who do you think is going to be on Team NXT?
Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, Tommaso Ciampa, Dijakovic, and
It's like
Baszler.
Yeah, Baszler would be the most likely one. Either that or whoever this surprise other member of Team Ciampa.
Or they could throw in somebody like a Walter, but I highly doubt it because I don't think that they're going to want to eliminate him.
They could throw in one of the people that loses from the triple threat match.
Yeah, Priest or Dain. I think Priest would be more likely than Dain.
Yeah, I'd say so. But
I don't think that that's going to happen either. I'd go Dijakovic, Baszler, Lee, Riddle, and Ciampa.
I
literally Team Ciampa and Baszler.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, I would love it to be Walter just because the visual of having Braun Strowman against Walter would be pretty incredible, at least from just like a sight.
It'd be a great match for Roman, too.
Yeah, but Roman would win that one.
You know how when you watch AEW, like somebody like Billy Gunn last night during that Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal, he like towered over so many people, and you're like, Billy Gunn's fucking huge compared to these people. Imagine being like, you got Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, because Randy Orton's deceptively big, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, King Corbin, a guy who is also pretty damn big, Dominic Dijakovic, Keith Lee, Walter, and then you toss in like Marcos Dunne. It's like they're all sitting in the ring, and it's just like, wow, okay, this little kid.
They could play volleyball with Marcos Dunne, essentially. But yeah, I mean, what was more surprising with that AEW show? The fact that Billy Gunn towered over everyone so much, or the fact that he's 56 years old, and he still does that bump from that clothesline, where he just flips himself inside out.
And I think they trademarked "suck it" because this dude yelled at the top of his lungs, "Suck my dick." I was like, okay, wow.
I did laugh at that. I thought that was great. Just as loud as it could be. Just suck my dick. Yeah. So breaking down these teams again, Team Raw has a far superior team than Team SmackDown, because I like everybody on Team SmackDown. Yeah, I'm one of those people that likes King Corbin. But Shorty G, I mean, who's the weak link on Team Raw? Fucking Ricochet?
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
And that's like, you give me a break. Ricochet is better than Mustafa Ali, and he's better than Shorty G. And arguably better than King Corbin. So it's like, Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman are holding that fort. King Corbin, of course, he's not going to be a sole survivor. He's not going to be the featured player.
Hold on,
His
hold
big
on.
part.
I'm going to say what Callum said. Vince McMahon is running this show. King Corbin may be a sole survivor for all you know.
Now, his part is going to be to screw Roman Reigns, I think.
Well, I mean, you talk about like people who are at a higher position. What the fuck has Braun Strowman done recently? Braun Strowman had that one match with Tyson Fury, which was like a novelty match. He hasn't been positioned in any sort of prominence since before SummerSlam.
No, he's kind of one of those guys that they've built in this
after,
idea of that.
You fought Rollins, but it was losing to Rollins. That really
I guess so. Yeah, he did fight for the Universal title, that and Night of Champions or whatever it was. But like ever since then, he's just kind of just been milling around really. And even up to that point, he wasn't really doing much of any significance. He's just, I mean, on the side of things, it looks like Raw has at least a bunch of people that have stuff going on, apart from Drew McIntyre, crazily enough, who's just fighting one jobber to another at the moment.
Yeah, Orton and Ricochet have a little bit of like a partnership feud kind of thing going on, which is kind of weird. So yeah, that could always be like, Orton's Orton. He could turn on anybody at any moment. Yeah. That could be where he does the RKO and he's just like, hey, fuck you, Ricochet, we're feuding now.
I fully expect that.
I mean, it's the heel face thing. Orton supposedly, he said on Raw that his reason for being on Team Raw is because he wants to go down as Mr. Survivor Series.
I mean, he already pretty much is.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's just trying to affirm that legacy as if that's a great title to have, Mr. Survivor Series. That's really...
Yeah, you know, Mr. WrestleMania, Mr. Survivor Series.
Well, it's a lot easier for them to trademark something like that than I'm a survivor. Try to just get into the whole music copyright infringement.
We have Randy Orton and Ricochet who are feuding, or are teaming up but also feuding. You have Drew McIntyre could probably turn on Seth Rollins at any point in time and start a feud for that side of things. You have Roman Reigns and King Corbin. King Corbin has issues with Roman Reigns, Shorty G, and Mustafa Ali. And he's had issues with Braun Strowman in the past as well. So he, at least on the SmackDown side, you have 4 baby faces. So they might all just band together to get Corbin out in the first place and then try and have an actual match.
See, where I mentioned that I am leaning more towards Team SmackDown for the women is kind of what I said before. I think that the opposite team is going to win for, whichever one, flip-flop kind of thing. And I really feel like with TLC coming up, their mentality is going to be, we need to do something here to make sure that we set up Roman Reigns versus King Corbin and a TLC match. So Corbin has to screw Roman Reigns. It would be weird if Roman Reigns won for Team SmackDown, because of course, if Team SmackDown wins, Roman is going to survive. He's either the sole survivor, or he's alongside Strowman, or he's alongside Mustafa Ali, or something like that. But if they have Corbin screw him, then it's like, oh, crap, okay, well, that's why Team SmackDown didn't win, whatever. So I'm kind of ruling Team SmackDown out. And I can't see any group of people for Team NXT being the ones that they were like, we need to focus on them, and they're the ones that pinned Seth Rollins and all that. Because even though Rollins lost that title, I think that they're still very stubborn about all that. And they kind of want him to just be like, no, he is the guy. He's also the guy. People don't fucking dislike him. We'll have him win this match. And
he kind of feels like more of the guy than Roman does to me at this point.
It's almost like they purposely want to hitch their wagon to the people that people are getting frustrated with.
Yeah, it's
out of being stubborn, But that'll, of course, change when they push Roman Reigns to fighting the Fiend at WrestleMania, and then it gets booed, and then they were like, "Oh my god, why are they booing him against the that whole thing?"
That's why I'm not surprised that I wouldn't be surprised if that was just the course they decided to start here by having, because Reigns he's not been pushed into the main event scene at any real point this year, despite obviously coming back from beating leukemia and he hasn't fought for the world title at any point this year, as far as I can recall. So this is the start of him winning this match and just starting the story up till WrestleMania, where he might win the Royal Rumble. He might not need to win the Royal Rumble, but
that's where I'm going with the it's kind of similar thing, but I'm going with he lost to King Corbin recently on SmackDown. And if he gets screwed out of it now and they give a pin, because it would be Corbin doing something to Reigns, not Corbin pinning him. So Corbin, hits him with his scepter or something like that. And then you give Drew McIntyre a pin over Roman Reigns, or Randy Orton wins. Seth Rollins pins him, but it doesn't really matter. And then that sets up the whole, like, oh, God damn it, you screwed us out of this whole thing. We're going to fight at TLC. And then that's when Reigns gets the whole, like, winning streak going on and wins the Royal Rumble.
Well, what happens if Seth Rollins is the sole survivor in this match? He gets a title match against Brock Lesnar? Do you really want to see that?
I don't think... So, Reigns, I don't think will do anything. I think he'll be stagnant until after beating Corbin at TLC in what I'm hearing might be a dog collar match.
Yeah.
And...
I hate this company.
And then
what do you mean? That's some good shit. The big dog collar.
That's dog shit. That's good shit.
Dog shit. I think NXT wins this one. The more we're talking, the more I'm thinking they really have nobody to push. Cause what do? Push Rollins and then everybody boos?
Well, here's another thing that we didn't address yet. If they don't have general managers, and they keep trying to play this, like, there's a fourth wall, but there isn't type of game. On media calls, Triple H is like, oh, there's Bruce Pritchard and there's Paul Heyman. Okay. But they don't address that on the show itself. And even though Triple H should have control over all three of these, and it makes no sense at all that he would be like, I'm backing NXT and all this other kind of crap. If you try to even argue the idea of what happened with the draft, which was that USA and, like, representatives from USA versus representatives from Fox were the issue.
Well, USA doubled their bets.
USA's got NXT too, so it's like, at that point, it's like, God damn it, we have to have two of our things feud with each other? That doesn't make any sense and stuff. So there might be... I'm looking at this as a weird way where I highly doubt. We're talking about a group of people that couldn't take 5 seconds when they're taking a shit to make up the team names. But if you're part of USA and you're saying, I don't want my brand to look bad, don't job out my USA shows just for Fox's benefit. And you're Fox and you go, we saw what you fucking did with SmackDown last year. Do not do that this year, because you're going to make us look like crap and then people aren't going to want to tune in. Maybe the way that they get around it is on that 2 and 2 and 1 split. Maybe Raw is the one that gets the 1. SmackDown gets 2. NXT gets 2. And that way they can almost kind of say, well, they're all kind of equal, but behind the scenes be like, so USA, hey, you guys got 3 wins. You got 1 for Raw and 2 for NXT, that kind of thing. And if that's the case, then maybe Team NXT actually does win the men's match. More likely than some of the other things, I think.
The reason why I thought this was the most likely is because I still don't think that... I'm not willing to lose the idea that Kevin Owens might turn on Raw and join NXT.
Yeah, okay, and there's that. But then he immediately needs to stun everybody on Team NXT and say, all right, fuckers, now I'm here and I'm coming for the belt.
See, I don't think that's happening because Triple H, on that media call, he had said that the missing member of Team Ciampa is going to be epic and all this other kind of stuff. And he said that he thinks that they're recording a day of special for it. I don't think that they would do a day of.
See, you heard all that, and I think you just heard it all wrong. He said it's going to be a day of, like, fans are going to find out day of.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm thinking that they're filming a day of thing where it's like, day of, like, John Morrison makes his return or something like that. All right. If that's the case, then that could be a little different then.
Well, I don't think Kevin Owens is going to be on the Team Ciampa in the War Games match, but I feel like he's going to be part of Team Raw going into this. I just think he screws Team Raw. Like, it's down to him. It's down to him. What was I going to say? It's down to him and Rollins as 12 2, and you've got, I don't know, Matt Riddle was the final guy for NXT. Kevin Owens turns around, pop-up powerbomb. Seth Rollins walks out, gets counted out, and Matt Riddle pins Rollins. And then you have Kevin Owens just jump ship to NXT.
There was that whole thing behind the scenes that he was really unhappy that he had gotten drafted to Raw in the first place.
Why is that?
I think he enjoyed being a big fish on SmackDown and was kind of moved to Raw with no direction.
I mean, yeah, you can kind of understand it. I mean, the last thing that he did on SmackDown was banish Shane McMahon. Essentially, he's from that position. You just think, okay, so he's going to go up now towards the world title picture, and then he just gets unceremoniously moved to Raw, where he's pretty much done nothing since joining Raw.
Yep.
I'm still holding out just the slightest bit of absolutely pointless hope that he's the one that fights Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Because the Raw roster right now, I don't want to see a single match against Brock Lesnar for the title.
I'm kind of getting on board with that because there is nobody left unless, and there's a big unless, but you turn Rollins heel and you have either Owens shut his mouth or you manage to pay Punk enough money to come in and shut his mouth.
But then you'd have to have Rollins beat Lesnar for the title to be able to do that.
What if Ray just rolls up Lesnar and...
I mean, we'll get into that too, because this is a whole other thing, but...
In any regard, I feel like it's still a bit of a coin flip, this match, so my head is saying that SmackDown will win this one.
I'm leaning towards Raw, but if another team other than Raw... I'll put it this way. If SmackDown wins the women's match, Raw or NXT wins this one. I don't think SmackDown wins both. And I'm writing off the idea of SmackDown winning this because I think that Corbin's going to get screwed. Corbin's going to screw Reigns. So it's either Raw or NXT. Whichever one they want to have two instead of one wins this. Kind of.
And I'm going with NXT.
So we're all kind of split because I am leaning a little bit more towards Raw. So that's interesting at the very least. Let's talk about the NXT Championship match. Adam Cole is going to defend the title against one of the three participants in the TakeOver triple threat between Pete Dunne, Killian Dain, and Damian Priest. We're all in agreement. It's probably Pete Dunne. And I'm pretty sure that we're all in agreement Adam Cole's going to retain.
Correct.
Yep. Let's move on.
Yep. So let's talk about some plugs really quickly. The fact that we moved on very quickly about that is something that might annoy some people, but if you want us to talk more about anything in particular, the Patreon is a great way to motivate us to do that. And if you donate to the Pick Your Poison tier and you want us to say, hey, talk more about that match or something, then we will. But maybe you want a different kind of a special feature in particular. You want like a fan announce table, or you want like a podcast edition of Call the Spot, which this year I still haven't been able to post yet because we don't know the freaking NXT teams. Maybe I'll post it with just like a to be determined type thing for the NXT side, and I'll go back and change it later. I don't know. Even if you donate $1 though to the Patreon, it's all greatly appreciated. And the other tiers that we have going on are like ad block forgiveness and the mailbag priority, because next week we're going to be doing the mailbag. And I still want to do the dark matches, so I'm interested in figuring out a way to do that at some point. But pay attention to the Patreon and take advantage of that if you can. Do the same thing for Fanboys Anonymous, and we will talk about that in a little bit as well. But let's move on to another title match here. Let's talk about Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship. I think that this is basically just Bray Wyatt wins. They seemed like they were going to go with The Miz instead of Daniel Bryan. And some of the rumors going around was that actually, and they sort of seemed to hint towards it, but that Daniel Bryan would have been fighting Shinsuke Nakamura for the Intercontinental Championship, and he probably would have beaten Shinsuke Nakamura. And we probably would have gotten AJ Styles versus Roderick Strong versus Daniel Bryan on this card a month ago. The Crown Jewel happened, all that stuff changed, and they decided to pivot and go with Daniel Bryan instead. I think the end result's still the same, and Bray Wyatt just wins.
This is a good example of building something last second, but when you have two professionals do it, it can come off really well. Bryan made so much sense and tied all of it together nicely as to why this match means something to him. He says he's mentally unstable. The Fiend doesn't forget, and they had that great feud. I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, I think it's a foregone conclusion, but it's one step closer to the yes Bryan coming back, and I like it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear to see that Bray Wyatt will retain the title here. I think pretty much everything that Tony said about this shit was meant to be Bray Wyatt versus The Miz, and that would have been even more of a foregone conclusion than this is. Yeah, I'm just surprised that would be that was the position that they were going to go with for a while. But yeah, you have Wyatt win this one. I can see this feud continuing into TLC, even if Bryan is pretty soundly beaten. But I think you need to have Bryan at least show some signs of offense against Bray Wyatt. But I'm kind of tired of, like, after his first match, now he's just selling all the time. It's kind of, now it's already been watered down to him just being a guy with a mask.
Yeah, so you win, Tony.
Yeah, and that's but
yeah,
it's not Wyatt's fault. It's not Wyatt's fault. It's how they positioned him.
It's fucking Hell in a Cell's fault.
Yeah.
If you look at what they did at Crown Jewel, they done that at Hell in a Cell, and everything would have been fine. But yeah, I agree with Callum. He's already really becoming just a guy in a mask.
Hopefully, at least Bryan has a reputation of helping people resuscitate their careers as well as his own. So that Bryan would have no problem doing the job on this one and doing it as cleanly as he possibly can. But I imagine this match will be fun because one of the, arguably the best match in Bray Wyatt's entire WWE career is his singles match against Daniel Bryan.
Royal Rumble.
That Royal Rumble. That Royal Rumble that ruined everything.
Yep.
I don't have a whole lot of faith for this match, actually. I think it's going to be kind of short, and it's mostly going to be Bryan kicking the Fiend and him not selling it. And then 8 minutes later, or whatever it is, he's just going to put him in the mandible claw, and that's going to be the end. I think this is going to be kind of a buffer.
I think Bryan gets to kick him in the dick a few times. He seems to do very well at getting offense in by kicking people in the dick.
I could realistically see this match end in a no finish or a DQ or something like that, just to continue it, because I imagine that they would have at least had plans to have Daniel Bryan feud with the Fiend at some point during his championship run. If they did decide to have The Miz be the title contender this month, then either they will pivot and make The Miz the number one contender for the next show, or they'll have thought, okay, we're going to do Daniel Bryan at, I don't know, either Royal Rumble or TLC, so we'll just extend this out a little bit further by not having a finish to this match.
I tell you, I'm going to get real fucking sick of it if their game plan for Bray Wyatt is every time we start a feud, he's just going to attack somebody. They're going to want to challenge him for the title. He's going to wrestle them. They're going to have a DQ or some kind of a non-finish. Then we're going to carry it over into the next month, and then he's going to beat them, and then we're going to move on and do the same thing. If they just do that over and over again, then you're going to be hearing me talking about how Bray Wyatt's the most overrated person this whole year.
I like the fact that I think I saw either a video titled about WWE's plans for Bray Wyatt's undefeated streak. And he's lost. He lost against Seth Rollins, and if they try and palm it off as some sort of bullshit no contest, he lost that match because he wasn't able to continue. That's yeah.
A bit of breaking Survivor Series news. It worked for them as far as the schmoz with all of the main roster guys, because NXT won. They won. They finally beat AEW in the ratings.
83 weeks.
Wow, by a solid 20, just over 20,000 people. Yeah, it just takes basically your entire other two rosters invading.
Was that the number?
916,000 to 893,000. It's not
not much to celebrate, but it shows that it works.
It's a win nonetheless. Just always put all of your wrestlers available for these ones
on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and it'll work. It'll work for a couple of weeks, and then people get bored of it, and then they'll just go back to AEW.
Speaking of things that are pretty boring, I bet you guys can't wait to see SmackDown this week because Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt are going to have a face-to-face confrontation.
Now is
Ooh.
one of them going to have the face in a mask? If it's master face, then it's a bit more interesting.
At least they didn't tagline it face to fiend. Okay? Like,
I hate when they do that crap where it's like, it's a contract signing. I don't fucking care. You know?
Yeah.
Is there anybody out there? Leave a comment below if you are one of these people and prove me wrong. Do you ever get excited for a contract signing? Is it ever like, oh man, I can't wait to see what happens when they sign that contract and one of them puts the other one through that table? What other thing in the world could you imagine people trying to say like, oh, high intense octane action or whatever like that? Watch these two guys sign a form. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's like the face-to-face confrontation. Okay, so it's slightly different than the fact that they had their promo on the Titantron last week. It's just the two of them talking, and then they start fighting, and the Bray Wyatt makes Daniel Bryan look scared. God, I hate that crap so fucking much.
damn.
Yeah, so Bray Wyatt wins. I'm going there. You guys going with that as well?
Yep.
Let's talk about one of the champion versus champion triple threat matches. We've got Roderick Strong versus AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, the battle of the mid-card titles. Styles is the best ranked one out of the bunch, like the most credible, so you would think that he would win, at least on paper, but I'm kind of going more Shinsuke Nakamura for some freaking reason. I have no idea why.
AJ Styles is winning, but this match is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I think, I would argue that AJ Styles is probably going to win because he's the one that's got a title defense the next night. He's the one that probably has the most stock in the company, the one that's most like highly protected out of all three of them. Like Shinsuke Nakamura is only really in this match because they just couldn't figure out who they were going to drop the title to before heading into this match. Even though Shinsuke's great, and I'm sure he'll have a great match with these guys, and Roderick Strong is going to carry. I don't say carry the entire thing because the other two is a great wrestler as well, but I think Roderick Strong is going to be the glue that really makes this match stick well together and just really bring it all home because like he's. I don't know if there's been really too many other people this year that's had such a fantastic body of work as Roderick Strong has this year.
I agree.
He's like one of the most reliable people out of all three brands. Strong's never going to be the type of guy I think that anybody's going to be like, oh my god, build a brand around him. But he is rock solid every time he steps into the ring. Doesn't matter who he's up against.
He's the definition of a workhorse, like the workhorse mid carder that you could basically put with anybody, and you're going to have a pretty good to great match every time. He just elevates people to try and reach his level. So this match will be great, but I think AJ will win.
Yeah.
See, the reason I don't think that AJ is going to win is because I do think that they, at the very least, I'm going to try to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to try to balance out some things. And I think that one of the other matches, the tag team titles, that the Viking Raiders has a good chance of winning that. And I kind of can't see Raw winning two of those. And Becky Lynch, of course, has a good chance of winning that one too. So that's like, Raw is very strong for all three, and I kind of feel like there's a chance that Nakamura pins Strong more so than like the Undisputed Era pins the New Day or something along those lines or something. But let's talk about that one. The Viking Raiders against the New Day against the Undisputed Era. Theoretically, all three teams could win because the New Day's had the longest title reign out of any tag team title thing in years. They have the record for that. They're heading towards the record of most title reigns. The Viking Raiders are dominant as hell. They only lost their NXT tag team titles because they relinquished them moving up to Raw. And the Undisputed Era have won the NXT tag titles more than anybody else, and they're the best thing going on that brand. So it's like all three of them are very credible enough to win. But I'm leaning towards the Viking Raiders. I think that they want to kind of undo some of the damage done from Crown Jewel.
I mean, they should be trying to do a lot of the damage that was caused on Crown Jewel in general, but
Yeah.
that's just another story. But I think that they're going to give the New Day the win on this one. I just feel like I don't think they'll pin them. I think the Viking Raiders are the ones that won't get pinned, regardless of what happens. But I could see them giving it to the New Day just because they're still trying to, in their own way, rehab Kofi Kingston from the Brock Lesnar issue, and they like the New Day. The New Day's the big popular act that's been there for a long time. I could see like Kingston pinning either O'Reilly or Fish off for Trouble in Paradise, and that being that being the way they get around it. The one thing I'm certain about is that the Undisputed Era is not winning this one.
I'm going with New Day because I don't think it's fair to lose sight of the fact that, you know, Kofi was champion a little bit over a month ago, and he still needs some positivity going into next year.
Yeah, that's pretty much my stance as well. And I think the Viking Raiders will probably be the ones that are dominating the entire match, but just won't win.
Yeah,
I think that this actually has the potential to be maybe the best match of the whole night.
Oh, this one could be great as well. I mean, they all look like really like tantalizing on paper.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still gonna go with Viking Raiders. There's a chance that it's any of the other two, and if I'm wrong, then cool. Because I'm cool with all three winning. Like
literally, we could all get all our predictions wrong on this one because there's really no way of guessing for the non-title matches.
Yeah, for the most part. Although I will say though, I think that Becky Lynch is not winning the women's one.
Bayley's winning this match.
There's part of me that says Bayley's going to pin Becky, and there's another part of me that says Shayna Baszler wins because Shayna Baszler hasn't lost to pretty much anybody. But they can get around it. The same as with AJ Styles, the same with Viking Raiders. As long as that particular person that they want to keep strong doesn't lose, they can lose the match, and it's not a big problem. Like, Bayley can pin Becky, and Shayna doesn't look bad.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm pretty sure on this one is that the fall or the submission or whatever it is won't be between Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch. I think Bayley's involved no matter what, whether it's being pinned or made to submit by either Becky Lynch or Shayna Baszler, or Bayley gets sneak win over Becky probably. I don't think Baszler will get pinned or made to submit regardless. But
unless they do want to do something where they set up that Baszler pins Becky with like a roll-up or something. And it's just a matter of them being like, oh, she got it. And then that way, like, a couple months from now, whenever they want to bring her up to the main roster, it could be like, remember, I pinned you at Survivor Series. They could do that, but I think that Bayley's here either as the sacrificial lamb or the surprise winner.
Yeah, because everyone's talking about just the issues between Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. Bayley seems like a bit of a third wheel, and that's kind of... That might be like an intentional thing to try and make her fall under the radar, so when she actually does get the win, she can brag about it a lot more when she's back on SmackDown. But personally, I feel like I would go with Becky beating Bayley and kind of using whatever Shayna did to take advantage of Bayley, and so maybe Shayna Baszler has Bayley pretty much unconscious in the clutch, and Becky pushes her off and throws her out of the ring and puts her in the armbar and wins.
I think this entire thing was built around Bayley being an oversight. So you have her get a quick roll up on Becky. Shayna doesn't lose anything. Bayley gets to brag, and Becky is in that position of almost like a Stone Cold, where she's so over that she can lose and nobody's gonna give a shit. So it's all good. I think Bayley gets the win here. It might even be the only win SmackDown gets, even though I did say I think the New Day can win it. But I definitely have this as the only one where I think SmackDown is definitely getting this.
I think that this is kind of one of those things where I'm going Viking Raiders for the tag. And if Bayley wins this, then Nakamura doesn't win. And that's Roderick Strong or, whatever. If Baszler wins this, then Nakamura or Styles wins. I don't think that Baszler and Roderick Strong win those things. That's why, like, a lot of this crap is, like, so kind of frustrating because none of this really does matter, like we were saying. So whether they want to balance it out or they don't care about balancing it out, it's just a matter of it's either a total crapshoot or every match depends on every other match, and it's like Jenga. Like, they start off with something that they want to make sure, okay, well, out of all these matches, we want Becky Lynch to win. Okay, well then who wins this one, who wins that one, who wins that one, and then you kind of go down the line. So, before we talk about the final match, I just want to kind of run down this again, just to kind of have an idea of our standings of the points total. The 3 championship matches. I'm gonna, gun to my head, I'm gonna go Viking Raiders, Shinsuke Nakamura, no, you know what? No. Viking Raiders, Bayley, and Roderick Strong. And then I'm going to go Team SmackDown for the women, and either Raw or NXT for the men. I'm not too sure about that, but that would be 2 for SmackDown, 2 for Raw or NXT, and 1 for Raw or NXT. How are you guys going?
I'm going Bayley for the women's championship matches. I'll go NXT for the men's 5-on-5, Raw for the women 5-on-5, AJ for the mid-card title, and thinking about it, I guess I'll say Undisputed Era sneaks one out for the tag teams.
I'm going Becky for the women's championship matches. The New Day for the tag titles, AJ Styles for the mid-card title, Team Raw for the women's tag, and Team SmackDown for the men's tag. So I'm going 3-2-0 for Raw. Raw, SmackDown, and then NXT getting nothing.
Nobody thinks that there's a weird chance NXT just shuts him out completely? 5 wins.
Well, it depends if Triple H has killed Vince McMahon before the show started.
Not
so
a chance.
Yeah.
I don't think. I couldn't even see them winning 3 for sure. I don't think anybody's going to win 3.
2 is at a very, very maximum for NXT, and I would still be shocked if they got 1.
Does anybody think that there's a chance that anybody wins everything?
Only Raw.
Raw always has a chance at winning everything.
Because Raw does have the strongest team for every single aspect. Viking Raiders are the most powerful. Becky Lynch is the man. She's the most featured person in the entire company. Seth Rollins and that team is the best team out of the bunch. Charlotte Flair and that team is pretty much the best team out of that bunch. AJ Styles is AJ Styles. I will be pissed if they end up being like, yep, well, we had all these options, but flagship show, motherfuckers.
If Raw wins everything, it'll be akin to last year's Crown Jewel for me. Like,
Raw wins everything and then does a 1.9 the very next night. So,
really quickly, before we talk about the main event, which I'm assuming is probably going to be the main event, let's talk about a couple other plugs really fast. I had mentioned this earlier, but fanboysanonymous.com is my place where I do movie reviews and I do other things on the geek culture spectrum. So if you're interested in that, go to fanboysanonymous.com and check out the social media accounts, check out the YouTube channel, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. Hit up the Patreon if you want me to make sure that I'm doing more content for that site. I don't know exactly what the next bunch of things I'm going to try to be doing is going to be, but I do know that over the next couple of weeks or so, I'm going to try to do my predicting the plot of The Rise of Skywalker, and I've got, 6 Flicks picks for December coming up soon, and Week in Geek is always a regular thing. I'm going to try to do some other stuff too, so just, keep checking out that space if you want to find out what's happening there. And I had mentioned the idea of donating some money in different particular ways. One of those is that there's the merchandise shops on TeePublic and Redbubble for not only Fanboys Anonymous and Smark at Moment, but also a Mango Tees if you want some oddball type stuff. So check that out if you want some shirts or stickers or coffee mugs or anything else that goes along that kind of spectrum. And we got one more match to talk about. It's the WWE Championship match. It's no holds barred, no disqualification. It's Brock Lesnar defending the title against Rey Mysterio with a lead pipe. And Rey Mysterio with a lead pipe is still not good enough for me to think that he's going to beat Brock Lesnar. But you know what is weird about this is, at the very least, on that media call with Triple H, his rationalization for why they're not doing Cole versus Wyatt versus Lesnar. And I smell total bullshit when it comes to this, but I'll put it out there just in case this is the truth. He said the reason why is because, well, you just can't get rid of the Rey Mysterio storyline because it's too fucking good and too important and all that. And then everything else just falls by the wayside. I still subscribe to the idea that the reason why they didn't do this is because they don't want Bray Wyatt and Brock Lesnar in the same match, and they especially don't want them in the same match as Adam Cole, where Cole looks really tiny and puts up a fight against those two because, I don't want that little guy beating the crap out of my Brock Lesnar and all that. But if we work under the assumption that that's the truth, and that they are just so enamored with this Rey Mysterio thing that they just can't step away from it, and you're going to have to go against logic and all this stuff, there's a possibility that Rey Mysterio wins this title. And that they do something weird, like Cain Velasquez comes out and he helps him win the title. Or somebody else screws Brock Lesnar out of this. It wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. I still don't think it's happening, though.
I don't think it's happening. The most interesting thing I've heard about this match all week is Paul Heyman saying this won't be 5 seconds long. That they won't do a thing
That'll
where
be 10 seconds long.
that Brock is apparently looking to drag it out and beat the fuck out of Mysterio, but that Rey could get a miracle in. I don't see it happening, but you never know. I'm going with Brock Lesnar because logically nothing else makes sense, but you never know.
As is quickly becoming my gimmick on this show, this is the match that I'm most looking forward to on the entire card. From just a storyline perspective and everything else, because this has been the best built story for the entire show. It has a very clear, defined who's the babyface, who's the heel. This guy fucked up Rey Mysterio's family, beat Cain Velasquez in Crown Jewel, has beaten up Rey Mysterio on multiple occasions, and Rey Mysterio got his own back by attacking Lesnar with a lead pipe, and now it's no holds barred. So Mysterio can try and use the weapons to his advantage in order to try and chop down the much bigger guy. Like, we know that Lesnar's walking into this on a bad leg because he's been selling the leg following the original attack by Rey Mysterio. So they've got that to exploit. And yeah, I'm just really Lesnar's matches always excite me. I think for the most part, obviously he's had a few matches, especially recently, where they've just gone by very, very quickly. But when he's got an opponent that has a story associated with it and is as good and as talented at storytelling as Mysterio is, I think that they're actually going to have a really good match. And I wouldn't
Callum
be
likes Brock
surprised.
Lesnar and validated his opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if Mysterio won this. I wouldn't be totally shocked. I don't think, like you guys, I don't think that's going to happen. But I mean, arguably one of Lesnar's biggest matches in his career was that match against Eddie Guerrero, when nobody gave Eddie Guerrero a shot. And Rey Mysterio has always kind of been the continued embodiment of Eddie Guerrero.
Better than
on
Chavo.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio doesn't have as much of a shot as Kane does, though.
Well, he dispatched of Kane pretty quickly. So,
Let's talk theoreticals. If Rey Mysterio wins the title, where do they go from here?
Rollins turns heel, Rollins beats Ray, and we get heel Rollins going into WrestleMania, and somebody has to shut his mouth.
Either that or Drew McIntyre is the next challenger. And they just go for.
I don't know, like the Drew McIntyre thing. I can't see them really going all in on them. They seem to not really want to do that.
No, but I mean, I guess they wouldn't want to do that right now because of the Lesnar against McIntyre doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of sense. I think they just need someone for. Maybe they just need someone for McIntyre to fight against. I mean, if realistically, if they were to give title to Rey Mysterio, Mysterio's probably not holding it beyond the Royal Rumble. I'd be surprised if he held it all the way up to WrestleMania. But I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility just because if it was anybody else, you probably would say it's probably Lesnar. But the fact that it's Rey Mysterio and he's such a legendary competitor, he's got such a legacy behind him as being the ultimate underdog, that you kind of it is odd that a guy who has given up such a huge size advantage and he's also significantly older than Brock Lesnar, you still give him a shot in these situations just because it's Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. I don't buy much into this, but I'm just going to toss this out there because it just popped in my mind. They did book a United States Championship match for Monday.
Yeah.
And even though I have less than zero interest in Humberto Carrillo being my United States champion, if Rey Mysterio wins this title, I could see more of a chance that Rey Mysterio feuds with AJ Styles, and they take random accent there. They take the United States Championship away from Styles so that they could do Styles beating Mysterio, because they do seem to really care about the OC. They don't really care all that much about Gallows and Anderson, but they at least care about the OC as a whole, with AJ Styles being on top. And maybe there is some kind of a game plan of Mysterio holds that title, faces Styles or somebody else at TLC, drops it to Styles at the Royal Rumble, and then we get AJ Styles going in as the WWE champion at WrestleMania. And at that point, it could be, I highly doubt it, but Aleister Black, it could be Andrade, it could be it's not going to be Drew McIntyre, it's not going to be another heel. It could be Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. It could be Randy Orton if they want to actually go with him being a babyface. It could be Ricochet. They could do a couple different things. That'd be really kind of strange if that's where the direction is. Or it could be Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania, and we could just do that thing all over again.
Yeah, there's a lot of there is. It's very much in the realm of possibility. It would just seem odd that they would have given the WWE Championship. They would have ended Kingston's however month-long reign in a matter of seconds to give it to Lesnar to just have a match with Cain Velasquez, a crown jewel, and then drop it to Rey Mysterio immediately.
At that point, you're going all over the place because it's you took the title off of Kofi Kingston to put it on Brock Lesnar to be the featured guy on SmackDown so he can move over to Raw to lose it. And then you replace it with Bray Wyatt. And at that point, then you go, well, why the fuck didn't Bray Wyatt just beat Kofi?
We could also walk into a situation where Rey Mysterio just wins this because Lesnar wants time off between now and the Royal Rumble, and Mysterio just drops the title pretty much, maybe not the day after, but a couple of weeks afterwards, on a Christmas special or something. Because Rey Mysterio, obviously, he's had one lengthy world title run, but I don't really class it as lengthy because he barely won any of the matches that he had when he was world champion the first time, and then he's had two very short world title runs in between that time. So it's not unlike him to hold the title for a couple of weeks and then drop it, because with Mysterio, it's always about the chase. It's not about him holding the title.
Right.
You know what I really don't want to see? And I'm getting kind of sick of my stomach thinking that they're going to do this now. Cain Velasquez comes out. He helps out Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio beats Brock Lesnar for the title. Rey fights whoever the fuck at TLC. Could be Rey against Andrade. Could be Rey against fucking no way Jose. It doesn't really matter. Brock doesn't do anything all of December. Comes back at the Royal Rumble, wins the title, and then they do Cain versus Brock at WrestleMania.
I don't see that as likely.
No, I don't think they'll position Cain Velasquez that high up on the card at WrestleMania. I think you could do Brock against Cain I'm leaning towards the idea they're going to do Kane against Bobby Lashley or something like that at WrestleMania because, you need to put him with some other guy that has MMA experience.
How the hell haven't we done Rusev versus Lashley one-on-one?
Oh, they're waiting for that to TLC. You need to build it up.
Is it?
You gotta have all the other extra stupid twists and turns in this fucking storyline.
Wait, hold on. Do you put Lana above the ring and she is what they're grabbing towards in a ladder match?
Lana on a pole.
It's a pregnancy test on a pole. It's a pregnancy test on a pole match.
I want it. Shut up and do it.
But why we were talking about a match that I was actually looking forward to, and then you had to ruin it with all this.
Well, because somebody said Rusev versus Lashley versus.
I
Velasquez.
said that. You didn't have to go that direction though.
Because it just reminded me that they get so much fucking TV time and they're not on the show.
Yeah, that is a bit obnoxious, but the entire storyline is very obnoxious. So I guess it kind of makes sense in a weird way. But in terms of this one, the logic dictates that you should go Brock Lesnar because it's always the safe bet. But I feel more confident that the title might change hands on this one than I probably would do in most situations where Lesnar's defending the title.
Anything can happen. They make it a point to keep you on your toes with certain things like that. Even if it defies all logic, sometimes they're just like, wouldn't that be kind of fun if, like, the hot dog vendor wins the championship or something like that? At least now they have the 24/7 title where they can kind of focus their direction on some of that stuff. But I still going to go with Brock Lesnar because I feel like if I say Brock Lesnar is going to lose this title, then he's going to decimate Rey Mysterio, and then it'll be like, well, you idiot, why did you think that Brock Lesnar was going to lose? And then at the same time, I feel like if I go, well, obviously Brock Lesnar's going to win, and then they go with Rey Mysterio, it'll be like, oh, see, you didn't give him enough credit. I feel like I'm in a no-win situation on this pay-per-view. I want, at the very least, for anybody who's going to call bullshit on this whole idea of me like complaining about everything, I want this to be an amazing pay-per-view. On paper, it looks like it could be phenomenal if they did everything the way that they could do it. If you told Styles and Strong and Nakamura and you said, here's 20 minutes, go out there and have fun, they could put on a hell of a match. The tag team champions, they could phenomenally just, blow everything out of the water. Bayley and Baszler and Becky, that could be a fantastic match. We don't know the teams for NXT and stuff, but the caliber of the people that are in the elimination matches, absurd. Bryan and Wyatt. Bryan's great. And that sounded really passive aggressive. Pete Dunne versus Adam Cole. If they put that on the kickoff or something like that, it'll be the type of thing where it's like, God, you should have watched the kickoff. It was amazing. So this does have a lot of potential, and I hope that this is one of those things where afterward we're talking about it and we're going, how fucking great is this? Instead of, oh, that's a real fucking stinker, But I don't have a whole lot of faith. I'll put it that way. So I'm going to go Brock Lesnar.
Going Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I stick to Lesnar as well.
So for AEW fan 6969 XOXO, who's going to leave a comment below, and he's going to be like, after Sunday night, and be like, hey, you always went with Brock Lesnar and Rey Mysterio. That's how he talks. Fuck you in advance.
That's a great impression, by the way.
Yeah.
You didn't sound like you were sucking your own dick though, so that's like.
I don't even know how that sound would come. I'm assuming
it's how he sounds. No, I just listen to our podcast. He's doing the entire time. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Stop it, it's dirty. It's gross.
Barry. That elephant in the room. And we're back to that square.
Well, the trunk is long enough.
Well, I don't know where we can go from here other than the fact that just to remind you all to leave your comments below, unless you're that dude, which is not even talking about anybody in particular. So if there's somebody out there that's just like, hey, what the hell? I didn't do anything. It's Sorry. Leave a comment below. Tell us what your thoughts are for all this kind of stuff, and we will see what happens on Sunday. Of course, the next thing that we're going to be doing is going to be the Takeover post-show, because Takeover happens before that, but the post-show, it's going to be happening on Survivor Series night. We're going to do that afterward, the way that we normally do that stuff, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to toss a couple other plugs our way after these guys do their stuff, so fine gentlemen on my left and my right, if we were sitting in the same room together. Go ahead, toss out some plugs.
I'm on your left. Yeah, WrestleZone.com. I almost said SmarkOutMoment.com. No, this is here. WrestleZone.com, eWrestlingNews.com, and Fightful are where you can find me. I also do 2001 Wrestling Odyssey with Callum Wiggins, and Callum Wiggins is going to tell you more about that.
Yeah, I sit on Tony's right because I am always right. And that is why you should check out 2001 Wrestling Odyssey, because it's the right thing to do. That is our retro podcast. We go back to the year 2001. We check out all the news and events that were taking place at that point in time. This month will be November, because it's November. And we'll be watching Survivor Series 2001, recapping the big Team WWF against Team Alliance, as well as like a brief look into Rebellion 2001, a brief look at the XWF, and just checking out any other bits of news that we find interesting. And you can also find me on Twitter at Wigmeister14, and check out all the articles on smarkoutmoment.com, including the power rankings, because that is my contribution every single week.
Alrighty, everybody, that is all that we need to talk about for this particular pay-per-view, but if you want to know what's happening next, well, we've got the mailbag coming up next week, and then we're also going to try to do something Starcade related, but the way that it's kind of working out now, they haven't advertised anything, because they can't even advertise what's on Team NXT, so I don't know how we're going to lump that in. If they say something in particular and they confirm the card by the time that like Survivor Series is done, we're probably going to just lump that into the hot tags and not bother to do some extra recording, because it is going to be Thanksgiving next week, so I don't want to try to figure out another way to get around that. But if they don't do that and they end up waiting until like SmackDown, which is like 2 days before that'll happen or so, then we'll see. I don't know how we're gonna
Either
do
way,
that,
it's likely getting talked about in addition to the hot tags, whether it's before
in some
or after.
capacity, even if it's just the matter of saying they haven't announced anything yet, here's the rumored card or something like that. That's probably where we're going to take care of the bulk of the talk. And if they do, just kind of change things up, because the card right now is not the type of card where you're like, all right, they're not going to budge from this. It's very much like a house show card, because it is a house show event. So if they don't do something like, for instance, like the card right now is like a cage match between Bray Wyatt and The Miz. All right, well, maybe they don't do that feud. Maybe it's a cage match between Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan, and it's not actually on the thing. They could do the 3-match card setup. They could do all sorts of different stuff. So I don't know. We're going to see about that, but that's going to be happening in some capacity next week, along with the mailbag. So send in those mailbag questions if you haven't done that already. We'll get around to that when we can. Right now, we are also doing the Champsgiving tournament. We're on round 4, so vote on the semifinals while you can. And next week, we will do the finals, and then the week after that, we're going to break down the whole tournament and talk about our thoughts on how everything went down. But that's all you really need to be aware of for now. Just stay tuned for all the pay-per-view stuff happening later on this week, and we'll see you when we see you. Thanks for listening to this, everybody. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.